Argentina versus New Zealand. It has been confirmed as the Toulouse Sevens final. Should be an entertaining game if it is anything like the last few times these two sides have gone head to head. But throughout this preview, we will be looking through at previous fixtures, key players to watch out for, and then a prediction at the end of how we think this matchup will end up going. But first of all, looking at Argentina's previous fixtures, they were a part of Pool B alongside Germany, Spain, and Great Britain, and they were pretty successful throughout that pool. Los Pumas getting themselves the win, first of all, over Germany, 29 points to 7. And they had a close game up against the Spanish, but able to win at 21 points to 19. And then they had a massive victory over the Great British Sevens side. They were able to win that game 50 points to 0, which was huge. I think that was the most one-sided game that we have seen throughout all of the Toulouse Sevens. They then moved on to the quarterfinals. They found themselves up against South Africa, getting themselves that victory, 21 points to 12. And then most recently playing up against the Canadians, winning 33 points to 5. So they're on a bit of a winning streak at the moment, Los Pumas. 5 games in a row, but the same can be said about the Kiwis. They were a part of Pool A alongside Canada, Kenya, and Uruguay. Maybe a slightly easier group, you would say, than some of the others for the Toulouse competition. They won their first game up against Canada, 29 points to 12. Second game was up against the Kenyans, victorious 31 points to 5 in that one for the Kiwis. And then the third game was up against Uruguay. They did win it 14 points to 12. In their quarterfinal, it was a pretty one-sided affair up against Ireland, 35 points to 0. And then their most recent game, it was a very hard-fought victory, including a last-minute try for New Zealand. They won that game 19 points to 14 over the home side, France, which was an extremely important victory as now they make their way through to the final alongside Argentina. But speaking of Argentina, key players that they have got in this fixture. First of all, Marcos Moneta. Of course, he's always going to be right on the top of everyone's tongues when it comes to players to watch out for. He managed to score himself a try in that last game up against the Canadians and just always has that pace, always has the ability to end up in the right place at the right time and create opportunities for the Argentinians. Then another player to watch out for, I am going with Rodrigo Isgro. He managed to get himself 2 tries in that game up against Canada, and he will certainly be hoping to continue that momentum into this game up against New Zealand. He's a physical player as well, which I think really will benefit him in this game up against the Kiwis, who have got themselves quite a few big individuals in their side. So I think that will heavily help Los Pumas out. And then the last man I am going with didn't actually score a try in that last contest up against Canada, but he's been very good. Gaston Ravol, the experience that he has got just adds so much to this Argentine side. The passion that he shows, the cool head in the stressful situations, exactly what they need. And he's got a winning mentality, and I think that could definitely help them in this contest up against New Zealand. But now New Zealand's key players, they were able to get themselves that victory, 19 points to 14 over France, like I mentioned. One of the reasons for that was Akulio Rocalisoa. He has got express pace, extremely hard to catch if he breaks the line, and a step that is extremely impressive. So he is the first key player for the Kiwis that I am going with. The second is going to be Regan Ware. He brought a lot of physicality into that game up against France, getting in a lot of breakdowns. Now, I believe he may have given away 1 penalty throughout that process, but he was actually the start of a lot of counter-rucks for New Zealand when they were in that semi-final. So that is something that they'll definitely need to use to their advantage up against Argentina. Try and play that physicality game with them and see whether or not Los Pumas will be able to handle it. And then the last player, I am going to go with Leroy Carter. He didn't have the best game in the semi-final, but I think that this final up against Argentina, he'll be looking forward to it. Him and Luciano Gonzalez both spend about 23 out of 24 hours in a day in a gym. So they are both absolutely jacked, about 1% body fat between them, and they will be going head-to-head throughout this game. I'm looking forward to it, and I wonder who is going to get the better of it. I think they're both carrying small injuries. Luciano Gonzalez maybe a little bit more of one. He was taken off the field a bit earlier in the game up against the Canadians. But yeah, that is a battle that I can't wait to see. But Leroy Carter, the physicality, the speed, he's got them both combined. And he's going to be a great player to watch throughout this Toulouse Sevens final. But now we are up to that stage of trying to predict who will be able to get themselves the victory. Now, if you based it off what we have seen in recent games, Argentina are looking extremely strong. But if you're basing it off experience, the players that New Zealand have got off the bench, such as a Mickelson, Scott Curry, Sam Dixon's in that starting lineup, there are a lot of caps and a lot of tries between those names that I've just mentioned. I mean, it was Mickelson who saved New Zealand in that semi-final by catching that ball out of thin air and managing to get it into touch. So I am going to say New Zealand are victorious in this game. I am going to say that they win it 26 points to 21. I think it's going to be a close one, and I'm backing the Kiwis to win it by 5. Let's see. We are going to be correct, but I do thank you all very much for tuning in to this preview. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are going to be back with the live commentary on the channel for the final, so be sure to check that out as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.